you set a goal in 10 years, you want to be at this point in your life in 10 years. And the 10 years may not be smooth. And you may not necessarily arrive to that point in 10 years. But then you take your eyes off of your 10 years goal and you start to look at your other peers who started off where you were. And then you watch them in 10 years doing better than you have done. But then rather than knowing that the 10 years for you was not the 10 years for them, instead of you thinking about the process you went through in 10 years and how it has made you who you are, you may not look like your peers who came at a certain point in 10 years. Maybe they had list, or maybe you guys all had list. In 10 years I'm gonna have a home, in 10 years I'm gonna be married, in 10 years I'm gonna drive this car, in 10 years I'm gonna have a legitimate job, in 10 years I will be at this point in my life. Those goals were set. Maybe all of you guys set those goals, most especially if you in college and you went to school with some of your friends in high school and you guys graduated and you guys maybe apparently said this, man, when I graduate in 5 years I'm gonna be at this point in 5 years. And that's a goal that you guys all share. Because I remember that my last year in high school, I told my buddies, I said, look, man, in 5 years I will be at this point in my life. So some of us do that, but then in that 5 years or in that 10 years, our friends have reached their goal. Whatever step that they set for themselves or whatever standard they set for themselves, they did reach that goal. Now, yeah, you are set your standard just as much as they did, but then you are not at that standard. You're not at the, let's assume you did not reach your goal that you set. But because you did not reach that goal that you set in 5 years or 10 years, doesn't necessarily mean that you did not make any form of progress. And I think that's where a lot of us fall short, in the sense that, I set these goals in 10 years, I'm going to be at this point in 10 years. I'm going to have a home in 10 years. I'm going to have a car in 10 years. I'm going to have a solid and legitimate job in 10 years. In 10 years, I will be able to look back and say, man, I made it from nothing to something. Now, let's look at this right here. In 10 years, you did not buy the home. In 10 years, you did not get the car that you were supposed to get. In 10 years, you did not arrive at certain financial status in 10 years. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you did not acquire something. The fact that you still alive within that 10 years, you might have done something. It may not have been a decent bank account. You may not have had a decent career. You may not have a home, as I just stated. You may not have the dream car, but you got a car. You got a place to lay your head. You got an apartment that you have kept for 10 years. It may be somebody else's, but you kept that for 10 years. You may not have 20, 30, 40 grand in the account. At least you got 5, 6, 7 grand. And think about the improvement that you have made. Like paying on your debt, paying your credit. Think about things that you never had and you had it, that it were never included on the bucket list, but you got those things within the 10 years. That doesn't necessarily mean that you did not reach the goal that you set. And I think that's the point and place a lot of us get to, and a lot of us look back, instead of looking back at where we came from, we look at those who we think that we are in some level of competition with. Like, for example, maybe not your brother, but your best friend. You may be in a competition with your best friend, or someone from high school that you envy, or you on high school where you got competitive. And then they are living that dream job, driving that dream car in that good home, and you are still making a payments in an apartment, or you are still trying to get out of the couch of your parents' home. You are trying to still maintain the old car that you had back in high school. You are just graduated from college 10 years now. You're still trying to figure out, where am I in this world we're in? Where am I? That doesn't necessarily mean that because you're asking these questions means that you are not making progress. Because a lot of us, if we can take time to look back at where we came from and not look at where others are, it's easy for others to say, hold on, man, I made it, man. Man, I made it. Look at me in 10 years. Look at me in 20 years. I was never here. Look at me. Look at me. Because when we start looking at our past, or where we came from to where we are, then those who are ahead of us, or those who are not ahead of us, or those that we are supposed to be in some level of competition with, we start to appreciate who we are, where we are, and what we have accomplished. Once we start to do that, things falls in place. You know what I mean? Because we all have our own lane. In much as we think that we don't have our own lane, we think that we share lanes with others. No, we all have our own lanes, and if we appreciate the pace at which we drive on our lanes, and the obstacles and the things that we go through on our lane, traffic block, red lights, you know what I mean, accident, road bad, potholes, the things that we go through, and how we navigate through all those obstacles to get to where we are, we got to look at it and say, man, look at me, man, with all the things that I've been through, all the ups and downs, man, the failures, you know, the good times, the bad times. Look at me, I'm here, man. 10 years I'm here. Look at me. When we start to see that, then we start to take our eyes off of others' lane and other people's lane, and we start crossing other lanes and stay on our lane. And when we realize that those things that we did not think that we were going to accomplish, or the people or the person or the individual that we thought we're never going to be, here we are, accidentally seeing something that we never anticipated. And that's the reason I tell people, stay on your lane. Stay on your lane. You know what I mean? Stop trying to look over in other people's lanes. Stay on your lane. Focus on your lane. You know what I mean? Watch the roads that you drive in your lane. Because when you work your lane well enough, man, when you get to your destination, you can look back and be like, man, I drove 6 round hours of drive. Look, man, I made it here, man. I'm here, man. And you will celebrate where you are, rather than celebrating, rather than being sad or being disappointed because you did not reach that. No, you made it. You got there. It may not have been everything that you listed on your list, but the ones that you listed or you did not. You see, some of the amazing things I realize is that some of the things that we did not add onto our bucket list are the things that when we arrive at our destination are the things that make us better. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of us, you know, may not put endurance on our bucket list, but when you get to your destination, like, you didn't do that. The ups and downs, the things that you went through, endurance, patience, pressure. You know what I mean? Momentum. You know, those things that we didn't add on our bucket list. You know, we add the financial stuff. You know what I mean? But when we get there, we are not like financially drained or financially nowhere. We don't have the money that we set. 20 years, 50 grand, 100 grand, 1 mil. We did not get that 1 mil. We did not get that 20 grand. We did not get that 10 grand. But trust and believe, we are not in debt. Trust and believe that we, you know, if we look back, you know, we got something now that we had then. When we start to see that, man, life becomes so easy, man. Become really, really easy. I love you guys, and God bless.